This is Rolling Stone, everybody, the Andy Lund Story. Welcome, Andy. Welcome. Did you get the hair right? No. He's wearing a hat. I should have thought of that.
There you go. That's me. I got the hat right.
That you did. Now, much like Bruce Springsteen, you were born in Plumstead, New Jersey.
I was born to run in Plumstead.
Tell us just a little bit about those early years. Tell us about, Cape Town for you. What is it all about?
Born in the southern suburbs. Grew up in Plumstead. Was a ludicrous miscreant. Just used to walk the streets. We used to walk the streets of Plumstead, and that was the thing you used to do. You just used to walk from one house to the next, and we used to do like really silly shit, like you'd be walking down the street and you would literally walk over the car that's in front of you. You just step onto the bonnet and then onto the roof, and we were those guys, man. We just got into shit, and but Plumstead was good. It was a safe neighborhood, and yeah, good place to grow up.
I understand that your parents were musical, or your father was.
Yeah, my dad is actually a folk singer himself. He played in bands when he was younger in varsity, and he ended up being a folk singer. And for the longest memory I have, the earliest memory I have was of him sitting with guitar and playing loads of songs, Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel, and just loads and loads of music always around us in our house, and just it just was always present. My mom plays piano, so we had pianos and just constant music everywhere. But yeah, my dad was a folk singer. He had these really short, stubby fingers. And my godfather always says, "Yes, I don't know how he used to play the 12-string. He used to play the fuck out of a 12-string with those pork sausage fingers of his." So yeah, but he was really good, and he had a real way with music.
You picked up guitar from him then?
Yeah, essentially. There were always guitars lying around the house, and it was something that, I always used to be drawn back to the guitar, and just always used to pick it up and strum things and play little one-note lines. And eventually, as I grew older, he kind of sat me down and he taught me a couple of chords, and I had that old thing of like, I can do this myself, Dad. Don't show me. Oh, but you sit here all those years later and you go, geez, I wish that he was here so we could just jam a song together, But that's essentially how it happened. The guitars were always there.
Now, it's quite interesting. You actually have a story for us about when you were in school. You you elected to do a job shadow at something that would become quite important to you.
Yeah, we got, I think it was the beginning, or end of Standard 8, Standard 9, grade whatever that is. We were told we needed to find a job shadowing kind of career. 2 days that we'd spend in a place where we'd basically get the run of the mill, and lots of people did many different things. My initial instinct was Paul Bothner's. The coolest place, if you are musically inclined, in the whole of Cape Town was Paul Bothner's. So I went to Paul Bothner's and I asked them if they'd let me job shadow, and they were very kind. And the manager's name was Roy Fullion, and Roy he's just the sweetest man. I think he's still there, and he's just the sweetest guy in the world. And he was like, absolutely, come on in. So I job shadowed for a couple of days, and I was just completely enamored. I was like, oh my God, all these guitars and these cool guys that work here. I can't even look them in the eye, And so I did that, and then they asked me to come back to help. They had a guitar expo. So I came back and I gave them a hand, and I wasn't 16 yet. And so Roy said to me, listen, when you turn 16, which is the legal kind of casual age you can start working, yeah. He said, as soon as you turn 16, come give us a call, and we'll give you a job. And so I like waited and waited. And on my 16th birthday, I went back to Roy, and he said, here you go. And I started working every Saturday morning, every public holiday, I would be there, and every Friday after school, which was kind of weird because I'd finish school, I'd race home, strip off the tie and the shirt and everything, I'd jump into jeans, and I would like race up to Bothner's. So, and I used to get there by like 3 o'clock. And Bothner's, I mean, there were these guys that used to work there, and they were just these icons of Cape Town, you know. AJ Bull, who's still one of my closest friends in the whole world, and Andy Green, who was the drummer for The Usual, a band called The Usual back then. And it's just like, jeez, man. And then they used to call me Lundface. Hey, Lundface, give me the, you know. And I used to do like really shitty jobs, like clean the snake, the big cable, which is like half a kilometer long, you know. And you had to go and clean each individual strand. But I loved it. It was the place that I really found myself for the first time in the South African music scene, which felt like the whole big wide world, you know, coming straight from Plumstead.
I think Bothers was the only music shop in town, really.
Pretty much, yeah. There was nothing in town. It was just the Claremont Bothner's, you know.
How much did you earn?
Well, for Saturday morning and a Friday afternoon from 3 till 5:30, I earned 27 rand. and I mean, I was so. The first thing I think within a month of working there, you could lay by goods, and I bought my first guitar, and it was a Fernandez Gold Top Les Paul, which I still play to this day, and it had been hanging there for like 2 years before I even started working. I'd seen it, I was like, oh my god, and I played that thing, and they gave me a staff discount, and I got it for 2,700 rand.
Still quite a lot of money, actually.
Yeah. And I paid 27 rand, would just go straight into my partner's account every weekend. I was like, I'll work for nothing. I don't care. I just want the guitar. It's like, which was cool. I mean, they were really good to me.
But on the plus side, that 2,000 odd rand did lead to your first band, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was one of those environments where you met just everyone. Everyone who picked up an instrument in Cape Town came through Claremont Bothner's because it was the only place. So you just met just anybody who played an instrument, and so you have this constant vibe, and people are hanging out in the shop. And Saturday mornings were mental. There'd just be like loads of people everywhere, and Maurice, who plays bass for the Dirty Skirts. He used to work there at the same time. He had a sword obsession. I don't know why I'm telling you this. But Maurice used to rock up with these huge fucking swords. Like, everyone was like, that guy's not well. So, yeah. But, yeah, essentially what happened was I got the guitar, and I started playing with some people I'd bump into. And it ended up leading to us getting a band together called Black Angus. I mean, I'd had this little school band before, which I played I played a talent show, and
talent show, huh?
Talent show. It was big time, big time.
What did you play at this talent show in a band?
We played 2 songs. We were cutting edge. Okay, let me just say this now. This is cutting edge shit. Okay, the first song that we played had just been released. It had just dropped. We'd seen the music video once. We got the tab because the one guitarist came from Canada, and he brought the guitar player, and he had the music. So we played "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Oh yeah, I think it's probably the first time in my whole life I've played anything current that is relevant to now.
It's probably the only time you've done that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the other song that we played was "Live and Let Die," Guns N' Roses version. Yeah, so those 2
Very
songs.
cutting edge, I agree, yeah. How did you fare in the talent show?
Jeez, I don't even remember. I just remember the bright lights and stepping up to the microphone.
What's the first experience like? Just do you remember how you felt? Sort of.
Completely. Completely. I don't remember a thing leading up to that moment walking onto stage. I don't remember. I remember being at home afterwards. But the thing I remember like clear as day is walking to the front where that microphone was, and I had my guitar on, and stepping forward and playing that first riff, the jing, 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 jing. I mean, it could have been yesterday. So
Okay, anyway, back to Black Angus.
yeah,
Now, you're working at Bothners, you're still a casual.
yeah,
And Black Angus is starting to do some stuff now.
yeah.
What's going on there?
So well, Black Angus, we started rehearsing a lot, and the guys that we got together were kind of cool, and we wrote a bunch of songs. It was all original stuff that we did. Well, we did a couple of covers. We started playing out at the Somerset Tavern, which was a venue in Greenpoint Main Road. I don't even know I think there's Pagel restaurants there now. So that was one of our main venues. We used to play at the playground. And all the guys in the band were like in their early 20s, like 22, 23. I was 16. And I had like a schoolboy haircut, and like I had to go and get permission from the principal to go to these places, just so that I could, be in these bars, this bar environment.
I don't think you could do that today even. I think I think back then, Sean would know about this. I think back then the laws were a little bit more lax. Yeah,
Yeah.
in respect of if you had permission, it was okay.
Well, I mean, I didn't drink, and so it was one of those things. I was just there. I was part of the band, and
Anyway, Black Angus.
Black Angus,
What did
yeah.
it do? What did it do?
Black Angus rocked Cape Town hard. Yes, no, we were around for about a year and a bit, and we played loads of shows, and it was the kind of resurgence of, well, it was the initial kind of surge of the early 90s Cape Town music scene. So it was us and Nine and a band called Even Flow, which had a good friend of mine, Nick Lord, who'd become very instrumental in the rest of my musical career. That's where I met Nick, and I mean, there were a bunch of really cool bands. There was a little Fishhook band called Lithium.
Fishhook band.
Yeah, they were a Fishhook band back then. So it was one of those, and it was right at the start of that. So there was this real camaraderie, and it was great. And but then I hit matric, and life kind of took over. Other shit became a little bit more important.
You also had some other experiences besides playing in the band. I think Paul Botner's got you into helping out other bands, like with some road work and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Andy Green, who was the drummer for The Usual, I started roading for him and for The Usual. So I'd most weekends I'd go out, and I was their road crew, and I'd set up the PA, set up the band, I'd tune the guitars, and it was awesome because they were rocking at the time, and they were playing great festivals, and we'd travel, I'd tour with them, and I was part of the band. It was great.
Andy Green asked me to ask you about the Turan tequila. The Turan tequila. Apparently, it's a good story.
Oh,
Apparently.
Jesus. Seriously? Oh, fuck. You can't blindside me like this, dude. Myself and my best friend at school, Adam Howard Davies. Now, I got Adam the gig, also roadieing. So Adam and I were the usual roadies, and so they played a gig in OBS at what was called the Heidelberg, and we set up the whole gig. It was quite a cool stage. It was a little bit bigger than this. We set up the whole PA. We had our own PA, set up the whole PA, set up the drums, set up the bass, set everything up, got the sound, laid the snake. Everything was great. Sounded great. Place was packed. So our job was done. Okay. Then we saw the sign. It was like 2 rand tequilas. Okay, and everyone was like, "Hey, Adam, Andy, come on over here. Come, hey guys." We were like these young guys. They're like, "Here, drink this." And we were like, "Oh, what's this?" It's like tequila. It's like bam. So we had a couple of tequilas. A couple more than a couple. Okay. So the band plays, and they played amazingly, and they got off stage and they went for dinner. And Adam and I were like, no, we're staying here. So Adam and I go, well, okay, the band's finished. So we pack up the PA, pack up the drums, pack up the guitar amps, everything, load it back into the van. We thought, how cool, the guys will come back, everything will be packed up, they don't need to help, super rad. We were like, yeah, we rock, we're the road crew, you know. The band come back to play their second set. No shit. We had packed everything up. We're like, yes, I'll carry the speaker on my own, I'm fine. They were like, what the? It was the funniest thing because we had to unload the whole thing, set everything back up. We were like, Emmy, James Stewart, who was the singer, he's still, to this day, every time I see him, he's like, dude, you guys at the Heidelberg Tavern, it was like, what were you on? I was,
That wouldn't be your final adventure in roading, because when we come back, we're going to learn how Andy went to England and what happened there to make him the man he is today.
driving in this lonely rain, I got a 6-string trapped inside my brain, and the morning star so bright, calling me back to you tonight. I'm drifting in, I can't sit still, and there's so much left for me to feel. And that morning star so bright, calling me back to you tonight. Drifting through this driving rain, droning hum of lonely pain, and the morning star so bright, calling me back to you tonight. Drifting on this thunder road, there's nothing left inside my soul. Still that morning star so bright, calling me back to you tonight. And still that morning star so bright, calling me back to you tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.